Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jarek Bryan Show. My name is Jarek, and today, guys, we have an amazing show today. We have Manny from the Rekt Dogs on, and I kind of want to sidebar with this, guys, that mainly this show is going to be just me bringing projects on and just kind of like getting to know these projects and seeing what they got going on and see what they're trying to accomplish. Now, I will say this, guys, none of this is financial advice. Always do your own research, but we're going to go ahead and say hi to Manny from Rekt Dogs. Hey, Manny, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Jarek?
Pretty good,
Glad
buddy.
to
How are
be
you today?
here. Fantastic, fantastic. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Manny, before we go into the Rekt Dogs and everything like that, can you explain exactly like how did you get to the Rekt Dogs? Like, can you explain your journey to getting to the Rekt Dogs family?
Yeah, absolutely. It actually began with my own personal NFT journey. I as Manny, was on Algorand's blockchain. Was very well aware of other blockchains as well, but that's where I began my NFT journey. And from there was a project there that had trade swaps, and I really enjoyed the experience of trade swapping and how that gamified your NFT experience. So from there, I started searching for other projects, and through the Twitter timeline, I found Rekt Dogs, and I began following them. So once I actually began, being part of the project in the sense that I followed them through the timeline, started minting out, I became a community member, and became very involved. And from there, I discovered that, part of as the team was growing and as they wanted to grow the front end of their team, there were a couple of skills that perhaps I could, throw myself into. And I asked if I could dabble a little bit as being a speaker, and it was an opportunity that was presented to me. And from there, I moved up the chain, and I am now a team member, which is very, very exciting. And my role on A Rekt Dogs is very similar to my role professionally. I do have a finance and accounting background, but I myself pivoted into the hospitality industry. I graduated in 2008. I was a server at the time. It was a tough time, or at least in the finance industry, to not attain employment, but it was it was just rough for a lot of people during that time. It was a bad economic time. So my pivot went to hospitality, and I moved on to training, and I started utilizing my business acumen there. And I moved on, and now I write training programs for restaurants. So my role, bringing in a brand, a culture, an identity, training people up, and inspiring people, is very similar to my role at Rekt Dogs, and it very much overlaps in a very positive way, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, great. I first heard you on Spaces, and that's what originally drew me to you guys. And like I said, with your community, you guys welcomed me with open arms when I first got in there, because I didn't really I knew of you guys, but I didn't really take my time to actually dig. And I was a big fan since day one, since hearing you speak on Spaces and everything like that. And you're pretty much the Spaces host for Rekt Dogs, correct? That's mainly just you. Mainly, it's just kind of you most of the time. I know you guys kind of spread it out, but it's mainly you, correct? Whenever people get on Twitter Spaces or X Spaces, it's pretty much going to be you behind the Rekt Dogs PFP.
For the most part, we've tested a couple of strategies. Now there are the way our team is set up. We have our founder set up, and a couple of them are comfortable speaking. We have Tony, which pops in here and there, and also Rekti, which provides more of the technical standpoint. So she's been present as well. But yeah, you are absolutely correct. I think myself, I'm very comfortable speaking. So I'm also versatile in topics, and I jump in and out. So being that person that's the face, let's say, and part of those Twitter spaces works for us really well. But we've also brought on our community manager, Max, who is also very well versed on the mic as well. And in fact, we even had a space yesterday that had him on the community account as a co-host. So we're expanding our front end team. So I think we're going to see a couple more people than just myself.
Oh, that's amazing. No, that's really great. You guys are super active, and you guys are in I see you guys in different mint parties and everything like that, and it's just, I don't know if it's just me, or because like I said, I came from ETH and kind of Cardano, right? And it was kind of like everybody for themselves, right? And you guys are constantly in each different projects, minting parties, like you guys are like there, you like are partnering up with like different projects on spaces and everything like that. To me, that's unheard of. Is that something just like kind of like a Polygon thing, or I don't know? Like, it's something I've never seen before. I've never seen projects team up in spaces and talk with each other and like hype each other up. It's usually been vice versa when I've gone to other chains. Like everybody's like at each other's throats, like you suck and everything like that. But it's just something that's blew me away when I came to Polygon. So is that something that is it like a Polygon thing, or like have you noticed, or have you noticed it in other blockchains?
So I think this has to be like a two-part answer.
Hmm.
In the blockchains that I've been exposed to, I haven't seen it as much. You see a little bit of a tribalism, right? Like,
Correct.
just like you mentioned. Um, yeah, it's something that captivates me as well, right? And again, I'm sure that there could be another blockchain that has a similar culture. You'd have to experience all of them, right?
Hmm.
The analogy I make is that every blockchain is like a different country. You go to a different blockchain, and genuinely, there's different customs. People act differently, and that's something that did captivate me on Polygon. I can't quite place my finger on it. How exactly this became the culture? I think it's absolutely amazing that everybody can go in and out of people's spaces, knock on doors, and the involvement is absolutely great top to bottom. I mean, even myself as a team member, I have the ability to knock on the door of Polygon Lab members. You know, just yesterday we had Ravi from Polygon Labs on our space. It was literally a 12-hour short notice. But they're accessible, is what I'm saying, right? Like
Yeah.
top to bottom. I haven't seen that anywhere else. So I think if I had to lay my finger on it, it has to be a Polygon culture, man, because they themselves, they went into spaces, they started leading it, and I think the spaces model does work on other blockchains as well. But you see the cultures different, right? It's not as gate kept. Wait, let me rephrase that. They are gate kept versus us, who are not as gate kept.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to touch base on the being in other people's mint parties and the community involvement, I that's where the two-parter is. I think that's the beautiful part about it, because you can get these synergistic effects from either different founders, team members. You get to meet everybody, right? You get to meet everybody. You get to go on a roadshow. People get to meet you as well. They get to ask their questions. You don't necessarily only have a Discord to go to or a Twitter where you might drop a comment, someone might not answer you. You actually legitimately have these avenues to get your questions answered, the transparency. And I think it started on Polygon as a culture, and I think the OGs just kept it going. I have to give a shout out to people like the Matic Man, like Shan, like Smokey, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of people that myself as a newer person on Polygon, I haven't been exposed to, that deserve a lot of credit and I haven't named yet. But those are the people that I think they set a good example, and then we all follow it. We're like, all right, you guys are in and out of people's spaces. You're warm. Manic Man was one of the first people that actually gave me my strength on the mic. I was even a community member for the dogs. I jumped onto one of his spaces. He let me speak, and I thought to myself, hey, I can serve a table of 30 with somebody else, right? I'm the face of the table. It's a crowd. I've done public speaking. How is this any different, right? So it clicked, but someone had to empower you. Someone had to be there for you, and that was a platform that was available at Polygon. So it has to be a Polygon culture, Jarek. I mean, it has to be. And the fact that everyone's in and out of people's doors like that, I think just continues it in a really good way.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why it drew me to this blockchain, because, like, just the other day, Sandeep was on a space with, like, Pluto Misfits, Matic Man, just a whole bunch of other... I think you were there, too, as well. But, I mean, like, yeah, it just... You don't see, like, Vitalik on spaces like that. Maybe you see a little bit with Charles Hodkinson, but it's not like, as much as these guys. So it was just something that kind of blew me away when I first got to Polygon, that everybody's like accessible and like, big people. Not like just like, everybody's like, big in their own way, but I'm talking about like the top dogs are jumping in and out of spaces. And I'm like, man, that's insane. Like I've never seen that. But I do want to kind of get to the Rekt Dogs portion. Like, Can you kind of give me like exactly what are the Rekt Dogs like exactly are, and like like what is like what's the kind of the vibe with Rekt Dogs? Like what's your Rekt Dogs story?
Ooh, do we want to talk about how we how we were inspired by the art perhaps to begin with?
Yeah, like
Do you
just
want?
like what you guys are like in a sense of like you know who are the Rekt Dogs?
Well, the Rekt Dogs themselves,
Mm-hmm.
we're a brand. We're a brand.
Mm-hmm.
So as we know, your community carries your brand. So we want like-minded individuals in our brand. So we're relatable, and that's why we're dogs. People have had a dog.
Mm-hmm.
People have seen dogs. Dogs are friendly. There's a nice little variation with the dogs, and that's what we're about. We want to go out. We want to spread the word. We want to spread our brand, and we want to spread this like amazing experience. We started with gamification, the Web3. You have your trait swaps. You get to essentially not only upgrade your art, but also if you're experiencing an emotion on that one day, because we're a PFP project, you get to alter that. If you're sad one day, you get to show that on your dog. If you're happy one day, you get to show that. If you have a new trait that's rare and you want to showcase that, you can do that as well. And in the future, when we expand and with our collaborations, like we mentioned, you can have an homage to another collection as well. So, but what we are is we're a PFP experience project. So I think in a space the other day to tie this in, when you're out in the world, you've got your face out in the world, right? Like if you're sad, you might have to mask it, right? But your PFP, it's a beautiful thing because it's like your identity, and that's you. It's recognizable. People understand you, and people recognize and associate that image with yourself, right? And it kind of gives you this like really nice body armor to be you and be whoever you want to be, right? Like your identity without having any of these social impacts that you might have in the world. It kind of empowers you. So it's a PFP experience.
I love that answer. I really do. That is really really good, and I actually like that. Like I like that you're gonna kind of interchange and everything like that. Now as far as like like kind of like the history of Rekt Dogs, right? So you guys are pretty much one of the first projects to come onto Polygon and actually bring a lot of like hype and actually like mint out and things like that. Like why did you guys like actually choose actually Polygon? Because at the time, when you guys first came on, it was kind of a bit of a risk because it was really kind of really not a lot here. So like, why did you guys choose Polygon?
Well, I myself at that time was not a team member, but
Mm-hmm.
but I can answer as somebody that was legitimately following Rekt Dogs at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
I was aware of Rekt Dogs from months and months before. So at least September or October of 2022, and I was completely captivated by the art. And I realized it was a trade swapping project. It was an experience that I'd been my eyes had been open to previously. Captivated completely. So I started following it. They were minting out on Aptos, and the answers that I received from the team once I became a team member, started asking questions, were that the opportunities weren't really there on Aptos, right? The launch pad at that time, they weren't linking up correctly. It was a little bit of a wild west at that time, and they were they were a newer blockchain. So without necessarily name dropping, they were even earlier in their in their phase than perhaps Polygon was,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in addition to that, though, Polygon approached Rekt Dogs and said, from the technical standpoint, we see what you're doing here. We absolutely love the art. We see what you want to do from the technical standpoint, and we feel that we can provide this for you. And that's how that conversation started. And from the get, and I think we mentioned this, right? Like the involvement from top to bottom, and the same way you see the involvement with spaces, it's the same way with projects. Polygon Labs started getting involved with the DApp right from the get. So when we had that vision to build a DApp, that involvement began from the get-go as well. They bring in Moroku, who had their SDK for the DApp, and we started building that from the get-go. That's what I found out. And so basically, to answer that, knowing those things, right? I'm not sure it was that much of a risky move, perhaps, for the Rekt Dogs, because when you take that comparatively, the resources that you have, right? It wasn't monetary resources, but it was people's time, guidance, and also literally the technical capabilities that the blockchain had to offer. When all that, in addition to the greater volume. At that time, I think the volume could have been very similar, right, between Polygon and Aptos. But I think all those features at that time might really attracted the team. And look, it played out very positively, I would have to say. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was. I would say if it's like too much of a risk, perhaps.
Yeah. So basically, when you guys like actually like need things, right? And when you guys are like actually trying to build things out, like the team is very like accessible, right? I mean, you guys, and that's what kind of like the kind of general consensus I've gotten is that, the whole Polygon Labs team and everything like that, you guys can call them up and they'll like, they'll communicate with you pretty quick, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the upper levels of the team are also in chats that are active, so they're very accessible. Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's crazy because that's something that you just don't see. Man, you've been kind of like talking about the warp traits and everything like that. Could you kind of go more in detail on the warp traits and like how that process is going to go and kind of like the marketplace too as well?
Oh, absolutely. So the warp traits, they are introduced into a secondary collection. So I think the best way to break it down is the dogs that are 10,000 dogs with the current designs. Even if they get upgraded or changed, the number doesn't change. There's no added dogs. So the Rekt items, anything that gets introduced into Rekt items, will change, upgrade, manipulate, or add to those original 10,000 dogs. So the Rekt warps were the first trait reroll, essentially, right? The warp is our terminology for a trait reroll, and what it does is it burns all of your traits, background, skin included, and it re-rolls them into another collection of traits. Now, it could be a rare. Naturally, it's balanced accordingly, so it doesn't change the trait balance. So that's what the trait warps did, and it introduced two things: not only the function to upgrade or change your traits, but also a Rekt purchase, because everyone had to stake. But in order to mint it, you had to mint it with Rekt. So it was favorable for everybody this time around with one Rekt because we wanted everybody to have it. But any future initiatives will have to utilize Rekt. And that allows me to sort of merge into the conversation of the marketplace. Because currently, we do have the raffles. You stake your dogs, so you get your 24 Rekt a day, which is 1 Rekt per hour. It accumulates to the second. There will be a halving period that's coming up in a couple of months. A couple of months might have been misused, probably about 4-ish, which takes it to 12. But anyways, so you accumulate your Rekt, and then the idea is to spend it into the marketplace, which we are now expanding past just raffles. So the idea is to expand the marketplace into Rekt purchases, raffles of all kinds, so user-based raffles as well. So that way someone can put up their own dog or another NFT from another collection using Rekt or Matic or another currency. And auctions as well, which would essentially, take supply of Rekt out and give it a nice, smooth economy. And of course, any other partnership that we have would be showcased in our DApp store, and any partnership that could utilize Rekt would showcase that as well.
Okay, great. And is that Rekt token going to be used elsewhere too in the ecosystem? Is there future plans for that? Like, are you going to be able to use that? Like, for instance, let's say if you guys like have merch or like other things, will that be also used towards that, or is that just going to be just for the warp traits?
I think that's up to discussion. We've been thinking about that, what to do with Rekt and our partnerships. Right now, what we're doing is we're essentially doing an indirect burn with it. So it's put to the side, but nothing's done with it. right? From the team standpoint. So it's going to be burned, and we have control of that. Now, if we introduce Rekt and allow Rekt purchases for someone else, then they are in control of that Rekt as well. So our main goal is to build up. If that is indeed a route that we take, it has to happen when we've built out the economy fully in order to be able to sustain that.
I see. Okay. And like, what are some of your, or can you give us some of like the alpha and some of the kind of like traits we should be like trying to snipe from the marketplace to actually get a a sick warp dog?
Pardon me. Can you rephrase that one more time?
Like what are some of like the traits we should be trying to snipe right now, um, on the open marketplace right now to get us like a sick warp dog? Like, you know what I mean? Like certain, like, should we look more towards like droids? Should we look more towards like zombie skins? Things like that. Or like, are those some of those like basically which ones are going to give us like the kind of like the coolest warp trait?
Okay. So the Rekt warp itself
Hmm.
is going to be different than what we're talking about trait upgrades, right?
Yes.
Like the sneak peeks that you've seen. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So we will be adding a second Rekt item that upgrades. I should have explained that a little bit better earlier. So we've got the Rekt warps,
Hmm.
which just re-roll your traits,
Hmm.
and those are going to contain the current trait set that we have. Now, there's going to be future upgrade items. I don't want to throw the name out yet because then that throws like a promise to the actual name and how we're going to brand it. But
I see.
there will be an upgrade item that will be coming out that will upgrade 6 furs, and right now we've got like 3 or 4 confirmed. Like we might be adding a couple more traits. But to answer your question, the traits that you want to be sniping off the floor,
Hmm.
it's 6 coveted furs. You've got your Night King, your
Hmm.
Dog Droid,
Hmm.
your the Rock, Nebula, Zombie, and Frank.
I
Now
see.
you'll notice if you look at the trait balance, they look rare, but they're not rare in abundance, right? But if you also look at their trait floors, the trait floors have been really accumulated. But we've also designed that for a reason, right? Because we knew we were going to upgrade these, so we wanted to have everybody to have enough skin in the game. Does that kind of make sense? Because
Yes.
now we have the ability to upgrade, let's say, a quarter of them. So if one of them has a trait balance of 450, perhaps you can expect 100 of them to be upgraded, and it's going to be upgraded through Rekt. So you're going to want to stack your Rekt in order to attain that.
Nice, 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 nice. And just real quick, Manny, because like I am kind of new to you guys and whatnot. Like, when did staking roll out? When did you guys start rolling that out?
And I'd have to get the exact date, but it was in April, I believe.
Dang, that's that was
It
pretty
was
quick.
yeah, it was very very early post mint. I think it was about a month post mint. I'd have to actually just look at her Twitter. Caught me slightly off guard there, Jarek.
No, 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 it's cool. Like, but I just because like I never I want to say you guys had it out pretty quick. That's why I asked. Like, it's very rare for projects to have it out like really quick. And it looks like you guys have had this for like a while. When I was doing kind of like my research on you guys, it looked like you had this for quite a while. So I was like, man, these guys must have had it like within the first couple months, which, like I said, or within the first month or two, which is super rare to have because usually projects take years or like a year or so to even get that even off the ground. So I was just super impressed by that. So I just was curious to ask. So we're looking back kind of like
Oh,
in
yeah.
April.
Thank you. Yeah. It was. I believe it was mid-April. It couldn't have been more than 5 weeks post mint. And I think what actually they had it built out,
Mhm.
and what actually delayed it slightly was we decided the team decided to review the contract. They were like, look, we're doing custodial staking. Like, let's just make sure, like, like they knew their contract was really good, right? They were happy, they tested it, and the community members, I was one of them even. And I was like, hey, so are you guys auditing or reviewing this? And even myself, after I said the word, I typed out the word auditing. I was like, dude, auditing is like $25,000. That's like crazy. I'm not asking these guys to like
Yeah.
audit a contract for 25 grand. But they still went through the steps of reviewing it with AutoSec. which has reviewed and audited like I don't know, like $5 billion worth of total value locked in, something like that, in DeFi. So that and that also happened like on the last couple of weeks of that little build out. So that happened really fast. Community was extremely happy, and we saw a really high staking count because of it. Because they added that extra little layer of security, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of started a trend on Polygon too, because not only were we the first ones that dropped custodial staking for a while now, right? Because there's other projects that had done it. The first one from the newer, what's the word I'm looking for? The newer era of projects on Polygon per se.
I see. I gotta ask you, like I said, I'm still, still fairly new, right? And everything like that. Do you guys have merch yet?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no.
Can you release that alpha just yet, or like is that something that has to be, you gotta, or the team's gonna choke you out if you release that?
No, I think I can release it actually. I think I can release it because the website's up. We are actually very, very blessed and fortunate to be part of Block Threads. Now the Block Threads team has done a really fantastic job of setting up a Web3 marketplace. We're not the only project on there. All the projects that you're reviewing, in fact, are there as well. Mm-hmm. So like I said, like people that are in the limelight are there as well. So we're very fortunate to be there, and they provide us the opportunity to put on our merchandise and other projects as well, with no upfront cost. They take on the infrastructure, the delivery, everything, and they just break it up for us. And it's we just supply the design, and they supply all the infrastructure, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So it's just now getting built out. And we're just beginning our design process, which, and this is, I suppose this is the alpha, right? The alpha is that we want to empower our user base. What do? You want to give people some skin in the game, right? You can create some Web3 utilities, but this is like some real life things, right? You can get a sticker, you can get a little phone case, you can get like a little shirt, you can wear it around. But what we want to create is, and this is the initiative that we're working on right now, is that we want to, through the merchandising store, we want to empower our user base to be able to put on their merchandise and also take on some of the royalties and be able to be empowered themselves. So I don't want to make a promise right now that there's going to be a whole bunch of merch on there, but again, we're forward-thinking people. If it gets built out the way we all want it to do, it will be a nice opportunity for everybody. But for right now, we have a couple of general designs and some stickers and some hoodie designs that are getting built out, and some community concepts that I think you might have seen sneak peeked on Twitter just recently.
Yeah, so I definitely want to rock my dog on a hoodie, not gonna lie. I'm so looking forward to that. And also, too, I definitely want to ask, too, that you guys, I've noticed, what's everything that's happened in Maui and everything like that. I noticed you guys were actually doing, charity work for Maui. Can you go ahead and explain exactly what you guys did?
Yeah, absolutely. So after we saw the devastation, and it was actually Tony from our team that led this initiative, and because I believe he's led another initiative in the past, and with himself just personally, he's a charitable individual, as is our team, and they got together for this specific purpose because they saw the devastation, and they saw that there wasn't a massive amount of outreach, so they wanted to reach out in some sort of way. So they put aside 1 week's worth of royalties, which, look, honestly, it might not be the most profound amount, but it's something. So they put away 1 week's worth of royalties. I believe it ended just a couple of days ago, and that's what was getting sent out to a receiving organization in Maui.
That's amazing. That's just. I love projects that do charity work, and I love projects that are actually out in the the community and trying to make a difference. And that just man, made you guys like a big fan, like, it made me a big fan in y'all's book. But as far as everything, right? You guys have done a lot of great things. I love the artwork. I love what you guys got going on. But what does the Rekt Dogs have planned for like this last part of the year? Is there anything you can kind of like release, or what do you guys hope to accomplish?
We definitely want to build the brand. That is always going to be the number one goal. A really amazing art, Web3 utilities. These are things that attract, build your community, grow it, and also allow you to have like-minded individuals. And again, our space and community involvement, that's going to help as well. That's our boots on the ground. But our main goal and initiative is to grow Rekt Dogs into a full-fledged brand. So on the back end, there's going to be a lot of, and again, I have to use my words delicately here because I don't want to give away too much, but there's going to be a lot of technical involvement with the Rekt Dogs to always evolve and allow the collection to be at the forefront of any technical plugin. And I think the DApp is really going to help with that. The DApp that we have built out and will be building out further. Right now it's at generation 1. So I think the best way to view Rekt Dogs is everything we've built out so far is generation 1. We're trying to build out a strong foundation. You've seen the staking, the generation 1 of a marketplace, the raffles. We plan on building out everything into generation 2. So you're going to see everything upgrade. You're going to see the DApp upgrade. You're going to see the Rekt items upgrade in the sense that we're going to have actual upgrades that we spoke about, but also we're going to have trait swaps. So we want you to literally be able to take a trait off of your dog and drop it into your wallet, and then vice versa. Like I mentioned earlier, be able to change, the emotion of your dog. So the trait swaps will be added, more Rekt items, more collaborations with other artists, not necessarily cross-chain, real life artists as well, artists from other blockchains, and also artists from other projects as well in order to pay homage. And that's part of community involvement to grow and have synergistic effects. And in addition to that, from the technical standpoint, and again, without giving out too much, as you can see, we've built out a good foundation. Anything new from a standard that can be applied to our collection, like our main collection's coded in ERC 721. Rekt items is coded in 1155. We're very, very strong coders. We plan to be on the forefront of that. So I think that's the best way to answer that. So from the technical standpoint and how to tie it all in together from the branding standpoint. And this is the part that I'm very, very excited about. And this is the part that's actually blowing my eyes for blockchain right now. There's a lot of real life partnerships that are happening. We might be at the early stage of it for everybody right now, but throughout the course of the year, I can only assume it's going to get busier. There's going to be more to do. I hear of some crazy partnerships right now. You see DraftKings on Polygon. Mm-hmm. That was an app that was in my hand just a couple of years ago. So people are knocking on doors on Polygon and other blockchains naturally, but branding side and growing that side, that's the part that we're very, very excited about. So we really know that when all these entities come in by the end of, like, let's say 2024, we want to be that entity that is ready to plug in with our DApp, Polygon ID. We're going to have our community ready. We're going to have our branding. Everyone's going to be carrying our image, our vision, right? And we'll be one of the communities that these entities will be ready to plug into.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's amazing. Like I said, I'm always, I'm always amazed what Polygon has. Like, basically, it just doesn't get talked about enough about what Polygon has over here. And I'm always amazed about these wonderful projects. I kind of kick myself because, like, man, I really missed out. Like, man, I don't know what I was doing. Like, I don't know. I was, around trying to find my way, but man, it's just, the reason why, like, I started this channel because I want to bring projects like you guys and other projects too as well to the spotlight, because like you guys should be talked about. You guys doing a lot of great things, right? I love the artwork, right? I love that you guys, just did this charity work for Maui when nobody else pretty much was. And like Manny, like, you're a stand-up guy. You took your time out spoke to me in the Discord. You did this interview for me, and I'm a small channel, and you gave me a chance. And I can't say that like I said, I can't say enough great things about you guys. I'm honored you guys gave me a chance. Yeah, like I said, I thank you for coming on, Manny. And before you go, because I know you're a busy guy, is there anything you want to kind of say, or is there any community members you want to shout out?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. The list is very, very strong. I have to say thank you very much for having me. First of all, I have to give you a shout out because the way you jumped into the Rekt Dogs community, you came in, you became a holder, and you asked your questions. And yeah, absolutely, our community, they took you in, and I'm really happy that is our ethos. That's part of the reason why that's what motivates me. But I want to shout you out for that because you're so warm, and through your questions and how you were asking them, we realized that you were very interested as well. So once you presented us the opportunity with the channel, the interview, absolutely, man, we're gonna support you. Are you kidding? And we're gonna follow you in whatever interview that you're having. And when you add some like some Discord chat or anything involved like that, I'll be right there to chat with you and be involved. So I'm very, very excited for that. And for you as well. So it's very it goes with merit for you, man. But so as far as shouting out community members, here's the thing. Like, I want to shout all of them out. I want to shout all of them out because I've learned this from Spaces, man. You can shout out like 7 people, you'll forget like 2.
Yeah, you get stoned.
Yeah, I don't want to miss anybody, but I want to shout out parts of our community and segments. I want to shout out our team that definitely empowers us. I want to shout out the front end of the team as well, like Tony and Max. When we get together and we kind of brainstorm and group, kind of think of the initiatives. I love doing things like that, right? So those are things that are driving me. There I go. I name names, but
yeah.
But now the community itself, I want to shout out the entire community because the community really gets the message out. They have their own fun spaces, right? And even in the beginning, man, they were doing this daily. Some of them were doing it 2 times a day, and it's continued. And again, without naming names, like, it's continued to like great spaces that you and I have been in late at night or even in the morning, right? And that's the community involvement on Rekt Dogs is absolutely massive, and I have to shout out the entire community, and even down to our Twitter involvement and the way we create memes, even the merchandising. A lot of these ideas that you have seen, in fact, I would say about 95% of them are community-driven ideas that have now been, evolved and taken into actual merchandise. So it's part of our empowering initiative. But I have to shout out everybody in the community, man. Even the people that are hanging out, just as dogs, with just a couple of them, you see them there on Discord. They're answering questions, man. Even if I'm not there, if Ahmad's not there, the dogs are there to answer a question on Discord, be warm to somebody, even on Twitter. So I can't rave enough about them.
Yeah, they actually connected me to you, and that's like I said, like you guys are like a great, and like as soon as I saw like the kindness, and I didn't get because like before I would some of the other projects I was in, like way like back like a year ago, like you'd ask some questions like that, and you'd pretty much be like, hey man, check out the announcements, man, or like, don't you read? You know what I mean? And you would just pretty much get booed out of the the Discord. So it was great to actually, I think it was Glitch. Then I can't remember exactly who connected me with you, and then like you guys I started answering all these questions. But it was refreshing to just like not get like hey man, just go read the announcements, or like, hey, you new here, bud, that type of thing. Like treated me kind of like a rookie. So I can't say enough great things about you, man. But Manny, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jarek. I really appreciate you, and I thank you for the flowers as well. The emoji with the eyes that kind of like water up a little bit.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Well, guys, that wraps up our show. If you guys like content like this, and if you want to, get up to date with the latest, greatest, NFT news and upcoming mints or anything like that, please like, comment, share, download, subscribe. Follow me on X2 as well at Hey It's Jarek, and I will see you guys around on the blockchain. Take care.